it was pretty fun watching Western Kentucky on Saturday night on ESPN. Oh, we'll be recapping a little bit of this to start off the show. And one of my takeaways was how tremendous the defense was, especially when there was like no points, not even a field goal, nothing, zero zilch on a 21 play drive, which I believe was 76 yards, and no field goal, no touchdown, nothing.
Yeah, that was good. That was pretty impressive. Benefited us, but unfortunate for them. But yeah, that was good. Just making them earn it, and that's what you got to do. Make them earn it. Don't give them the big plays. If they're going to score, they're going to have to earn it, and of course, they did. So, but it was very impressive. Very.
Oh yeah. And it was pretty fun watching a little bit of Jalen Milroe, seeing some of the magic he was pulling out. So it was cool watching that.
Yeah, he's a nightmare for the defense. He's so fast. I know people have heard that he's quick. I think last year they mentioned he was probably the fastest guy on the field. But here's a tip to people at home watching. When you're watching, a film, a game, if a player can cover 5 yards in 2 steps, that's about 4.5 speed. And if he's covered more than 5 yards in 2 steps, I mean, that's even now you're getting into elite. And every time you watch him, he's covering when he's wide open and he's sprinting it to the end zone. I mean, he's covering a lot of ground in a hurry. So that shows you a lot of speed. I was watching Williams, the receiver, and he's got a little speed. He's got a little afterburners in his steps. So a lot of speed down there. A lot of speed.
Yeah. Well, and who was like your player of the game from Saturday night?
Well, I would probably, if it were me, I mean, the 2 running backs, I thought they did a great job running, in between. I mean, Milroe, I mean, he does his thing. I thought he did some great stuff. I mean, he broke out a couple of times and dumped the ball off and let, somebody else take the hits and stuff like that. That's good because it makes the defense back up. I mean, if you're just going to tuck it and run every time, everybody's going to release those receivers and they're coming to get you. But he opened it up. He broke free a couple of times, zipped it on down the field. So he did a very, very good job on his part. But I really liked the step what the running backs popping through the middle and that really is incentive for the offensive line. They're grinding it out up front. I was very, very impressed on Alabama's front on both sides, and we talked about this last week. If I were a betting man and putting points in Vegas or dollars in Vegas, I would look at the offense defensive line, and they were plugging holes and making holes. So, but I think I like those two. Miller and Haynes, I like those 2 popping through there and those big runs and everything. So I think I'd go with the running backs. A little different than what probably other people are expecting.
Oh, yeah. And, for me personally, my player of the game was Ryan Williams. I mean, 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns, 139 receiving yards. You don't see that every day.
And that was the first one was a busted coverage. I don't the corner, he released him. I guess he thought he had over the top help from the safety or whatever, but they ran a post. They ran a receiver right through the middle of the field that occupied the safety, kept the safety toward the middle, and then the corner just let him go. And so he was wide open, and then he hits the afterburners. The second one, I liked his little juke step. He caught it, and he did a little, juke there and cut through and broke through a tackle and ran on into the end zone. But that's big time plays. And if he can make that happen consistently, it opens everything up for everybody, the running game, the other guys, when they're having to pay a little more attention on his side of the ball, and they'll find other ways to get him the ball. They'll, run him in some motion. They'll run him on some little sweeps and things of that nature, use his speed. Very good for a kid that's 17 years old. If he can keep it, smart in between, the ears right there at 17, whoo, a lot of talent.
Well, and, there's some improvements in some way, shape, or form that we're definitely going to have to make going into South Florida and Wisconsin, Georgia. What are they exactly in your eyes?
Well, there were too many mistakes early in the game. Alabama had a lot of penalties early. Of course, they smoothed it out, later on in the game. I think the rhythm was thrown off. I hope they spend a lot of time practicing. I know we didn't talk about it last week, but we had that. The head where they can talk to him 15 seconds prior to the snap, and the headset issue. And I guess it was with Western Kentucky and their headsets. And of course, when one loses communication, the other one has to reciprocate. So they're going to have to, everybody's got to have a plan, maybe put a little more time into planning, because there's going to be some little geek out there that's going to get their jolly shutting down, the network and doing some little virus or malware or something like that. There's always a challenge, some little nerd out there. So they gotta, don't forget the old days when you had to signal them in and that kind of stuff. So just rhythm in the game and staying focused, and it's eliminating dumb mistakes. We saw the snap. Everybody, I bet, like me, went on and that kind of stuff. But I really think if Alabama would put Milroe under center a few times and get a little rhythm on that, so that if it's wet or something, ball's wet, that you can have a package for that. But I thought the tackling was good. I thought defense played pretty sound. A couple of mistakes here or there, but it's just getting into the grind, the routine, and staying hungry. Just every game, just being. Don't get, it's early in the season, but it's a long grind, and you can't get too comfortable right now and forget that it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work if you're going to be great.